While on holiday in Brittany last year, I took a bit of a detour, walking alongside a trading estate in Langex, as you do. These should be at the top of everyone's sightseeing list if picturesque scenery is your cup of cha. At the boundary of the warehouses was a wall that stretched for about 500 yards. Bear with me. This gets more interesting, I promise. What made this particular wall stand out is that half of it was decorated with some of the most impressive graffiti I've ever seen. Bizarrely, 99% of it revolving around everyone's favorite dysfunctional animated family, the Simpsons. This posed a number of niggling curiosities for me. Firstly, why would there be so much Simpsons-oriented graffiti on a crumbly old wall off the beaten track in northern France? Also, why there to be so much of it, and for it to be of such high caliber, someone must have commissioned the display. This wouldn't just happen overnight without anyone noticing, or any arrests being made, surely? Unless perhaps Dawn Raid graffiti is popular in flash mobbing circles. Maybe the local council are obsessive Simpsons fans? So many questions, so few answers.
We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
Acting, light bulb moment. It just occurred to me that this has not at all to do with the Amiga. Quick, I need something to make this relevant. Yeah, here you go. This is actually a trailer for my upcoming retrospective article on the Bart vs. the Space Mutants game developed by Imagineering Incorporated and published by Ocean in September 1991. Now I need to play the wretched thing. This isn't going to be pretty. Where's the delete key? Can you just pretend I hadn't mentioned this, please, and we'll all be on our way? Oh, alright. Let's get on with it then if we must. Let me see. We join our starring hero, Brad Simpson, as he stares vacantly out of his bedroom window, probably pondering the likelihood of Matt Groening finally letting him grow up so he can leave school and become a full-time, professional terrorist. The scene is a blatant rip-off, homage to the 1953 science fiction movie, Invaders from Mars, in which schoolboy David McLean witnesses an alien flying saucer levitating over the sand quarry behind his house in the midst of a meteor shower. Upon landing, the extraterrestrials would then proceed to assimilate the townsfolk on invasion of the body snatchers. They return to the daily grind with conspicuous puncture wounds to the back of their necks, shadows of their former selves, while the Marines are drafted in to kick their Martian butts. Meanwhile, back in Springfield, home of the Simpsons, a hovering spaceship descends in Bart's backyard amidst a blaze of radiant, supernatural light. Bart, not relishing the prospect of his retinas melting, reaches for his X-ray specs before any lasting damage can be done. Emerging from his dazed befuddlement, he can now see the interlopers in their true, horrifying form, much like Nutta in John Carpenter's 1988 They Live movie. Did I mention the developers nicked the magic sunglasses concept too? Sorry, I mean parodied the cult classic, schlock B-movie starring former WWF wrestler, Rowdy Roddy Piper? No? Well, they did. This is the creators of the original Nintendo Entertainment System version, I should add, since the Amiga game is a port. Quite a shoddy one at that. A shoddy port of a shoddy 8-bit game that wasn't even enhanced to a shoddy 16-bit game. It emerges that the unwelcome visitors have subjugated the residents of Springfield, and Bart being the only one to have witnessed the rouse. must use their Achilles heel to identify the fakes. Once unmasked, the critters can be exorcised through the ancient art of the Mario-style headbounds. While Apu, Ned Flanders, Reverend Lovejoy and so on are distracted, the dastardly squatters set about fueling their ultimate weapon, the one they intend to deploy to decimate the planet. Disclaimer: none of the above characters feature in Bart vs. the Space Mutants. I just said that to kid myself into thinking more attention had been paid to commemorating the cartoon. Come on, be strong. We can get through this together. If you were concentrating in your school science lessons, you know that alien doomsday devices are powered by feeding them with purple-colored objects. So to thwart their efforts to conquer the world, in the first level you'll need to cover, spray paint or otherwise to purple anything that qualifies. Once they get wise to your meddling, they tweak the WMD to accept alternative fuel. Fuel such as exit signs and hats. I believe this was covered in Year 2 of GCSE Physics. It makes perfect sense to me. What's far more preposterous is that in John Carpenter's envisioning of the threat from the skies, the ruling classes are the ones pulling the strings, and they've been walking amongst us all along. Unbeknownst to non-magic sunglasses wearing humans, their plan is to bombard our tiny warped brains with subliminal messages to ensure we keep spending and procreating like subservient, superficial enderlings. Obediently curtsying to our masters, conforming to society's norms, we trudge on hoodwinked into believing that our lives count for something more significant than the vocation bestowed upon the scurrying ants who keep the queen fed and fat. You please yourselves. As for me, when these Kang and Kodos wannabes come knocking, I am perfectly content to let them nuke me. On a positive note, at least then I won't have to review Bart vs. the Space Mutants. That's me all over. Always looking for the silver lining.